If you ask people on the street about crime, people will tell you all over the world, crime is a terrible thing. What should we do to reduce crime? Punishment. And if it does not help, more severe punishment. Which topics are interesting for the media? How is the reporting of the media? And the effect of media reporting. What people know about crime is from the media, not from the crime statistics. Yeah? And crime politics, the role of the public, and some final discussion. You see here we have three topics: crime, media reporting, and crime policy. And crime belongs to mankind since the beginning. If you look, for example, in the Bible, you find terrible crimes, you find murder, you find killings, and in the Old Testament and also in the New one, crime belongs to every group of people. You can go where you want to go, you find criminal behavior. It depends on time period, and it depends on the country. For example, the politics in drugs is very different in Portugal in comparison to the rest of Europe. In Germany, if you are a student, for example, and you are fined by the police to have a small amount of, let me say, hashish or something like that, you are punished. Yeah? Not in Portugal. In Portugal, they bring you, if you are not a dealer, only a user, they bring you to a special institution who will help you. In Germany, you are registered as an offender, and if you do it a second time, an airboarding, and maybe at the end you come to the prison. So it depends on countries, and it depends on reporting to police, and dealing with crime. Punishment is the solution people suggest because they are not informed about the effect of punishment. Is it really valid to reduce crime or not? If you look in the Old Testament, Moses, the Bible reports about Moses. Everybody knows Moses. Yeah? Moses is a very important person in the Old Testament. And there is a story described in the Old Testament. Moses is in Egypt. You know, they were in Egypt. He is seeing that Egyptian is beating Jewish people. What did he do? In the evening, he went, picked him up, killed him, and the dead body, he brought in the desert and under the sand. The Pharaoh found it out, and so he had to fly. This is just a murder, nothing else. And you find a lot of other stories like this. This is Cain and Abel. You know this story. Everybody knows this story. This is also from the Bible, David and Goliath. You see, this is a very famous picture from Ehrlicher. It's a crime. This is a killing. Yeah. Now let me see, what do we know about crime? In criminology, there is a discussion how many % of crime do we register. Yeah? And a lot of criminologists say round about 90% of all criminal behavior is not registered officially. Yeah? That is, in the crime statistics, we find only 10% of crime. So the next question is, about what do we discuss if we discuss about crime? Yeah? We discuss about crime in the crime statistics, but in the crime statistics we have, according to this research, only around about 10% of all crime. Müller and Schröttler, these are two German authors, they did a very well done survey, asked more than 10,000 women from 16 onward, and what they find out is that round about 5 to 10% of the crime they were victimized, they reported to the police. Yeah? That is round about 95% of the victimization of these females, most victimization is in the families, by the partner or by the husband or what else. Yeah? They don't go to the police, and there is no registration of these police. We did a survey asking people about the attitudes to victims. Yeah? We gave the people two stories. One story, there is a young lady living in a house, and there is a break-in. In the night, a person is break-in. What do you think about the lady? And we had a comparison between female and male. There was no difference between both male and female. And the other one was, this lady was attacked in the park by a man sexually. He touched him on the, or put it. And what do you think about this lady? And now what you find out is, people are thinking, this lady is also an offender. The first question was, what did he have, a short or not? Was she more or less open here, or what else? Yeah? Not in the case of burglary, but in the case of sexual misuse, the people are questioning, how is this lady? Is her behavior really good or not? If she is a sexual victim, maybe she engaged the person to attack her sexual. So one part of guilty is brought to the victim. So you see, it's a very, very complex topic. And if we speak about crime, we speak about 10%. In Germany, we have a huge discussion about misuse of children in the church. This is a huge discussion. I'm a member of an expert group in my place, and this is an excellent survey looking in the files. What did the priests do with children? Yeah? And they find out that round about 4.4 of all the church, that is priests and monks, misused children, male and female. Most of them are female. Before, 10 years before, the discussion started round about 10 years before. You know, it began in the John Jay College in the United States, and then it came also to Germany, and meanwhile we have a broad discussion. The church is very, very criticized about this, but before, there was no discussion about sexual misuse in the church. It was not, no, we don't have it, but now we mean what is published about crime and punishment. This is the Middle Ages. You see, at that time, the crime reporting was to prevent crime. Yeah? The goal of this sort of crime reporting, it was Middle Ages in a catalog of a city. The offenders are presented to the public. This is to deter crime, to prevent crime. Yeah? People know if you do that, you are exposed, like here, this man you see here, and these people are brought to the marketplace and bind at a pillar, and then everybody could see this is a bad person. Or this one, you know that the crimes are very, very severe. You see death penalty here, terrible punishment, and the aim of this was to deter crime, to reduce crime policy. This very severe punishment does not help. The crime rate in the Middle Ages, especially severe crime, was much higher than today. Yeah? So the effect was more or less zero. If you look to United States, they have in 31 states the death penalty. And in 19, they abolished the death penalty. In Europe, only one country has a death penalty, that's Belarus. All other countries abolished the death penalty. And if we did a comparison in the United States between states who have the death penalty, who practice it, in comparison to that states who don't practice it, who abolish the death penalty in the penal court, in the penal law. And what is the result? The result is the states which have the death penalty have a higher severe crime rate than the states who don't use the death penalty. Texas, Louisiana, Georgia, these are the states, especially Texas. Yeah? Texas has the highest killing rate, the highest execution rate of offenders in the United States. It is reducing the last years because there is a lot of critics. And the American, if you go to the American Society of Criminology, they did excellent research about the non-effect of this death penalty. The death penalty has not a crime-reducing effect, and so also this torture didn't have a crime-reducing effect. Today, if you look in the media, the report is another one. It's not deterrence. It's what is the background. You see here, this is the most sold newspaper in Germany, the Bild Zeitung. This is an everyday newspaper. You can buy it every day, everywhere, and it's very cheap. And people buy it, and this is one picture. What is written here? Here you see the fat beast. In the prison, he seems to live really very well. There's a message of this picture. Yeah? This is not deterrence. I will come back. Why do they inform people about these problems? But the effect is people read it and said, okay, this is really a bad person. He is a killer, and now he's very fat. You see here, so he must have a good life in prison. What are they doing? They should beat him and punish him. This is, or this one, another, this is just from this year, 1st April, some weeks ago. He is a murderer. He escaped, and here is written, the justice of Berlin, Berlin is a capital, you know, is protecting the rights of killers. The information of the journalist, the justice in Germany protects the right of the killers. That is written here. If people read that, they say, what is going on here? They help the killers. They should help the victims and not the killers. It's not correct, but people read it. And that is the information they have. And why do they? And another topic is crime stories. I just looked at the program last week and this week, how many crime stories we have. These are the official channels, the really good channels, and these are private channels. Yeah, this is not private. In Germany, if you have a TV, you have to pay for that, and this money comes to these official channels. Yeah, so they have money, and then they can do their job. You see, these are 14 days, and in the middle, also the state channels have more or less every day a crime story. Yeah? So crime is, people like crimes. Tatort is one of these crime stories. If you ask in Germany, Tatort, everybody knows it. Yeah? These are crime stories, fictional crime stories, not really real crime stories, but movies. So obviously, crime is a very interesting topic for people. Yeah? This is some information since 2007. The official registered crime reduced constantly in murder and rape since 2004, bodily injury, theft since 2005. So in Germany, we have a reduction of official registered crime, not an increase. Crime is reducing very strongly. A survey showed people think about juvenile crime is increases. Yeah? If you ask people, what is going on with crime in Germany? People say, oh, it's a terrible story. It's increasing. Yeah? Not correct. If you look in the statistics, it's decreasing. Yeah? But people on the background of these stories in the newspaper, they have the feeling crime is more and more a huge problem. It's strongly increasing, for example, 84% strongly, a little bit 42%. So round about 90% of the crime is reducing and not increasing. Violence strongly decreased, and so on. The number of convicted persons decreased the last decades. We have a reduction of prisoners. The last 2-3 years, it changed a little bit because on the background of the refugees. You know, we have a lot of immigrants from African states and Eastern European states, and I'll come back to that later. And nearly 80.5% of people asked think that juvenile delinquency will increase the following 10 years. If you look back the last 30 years, juvenile delinquency and juvenile crime decreased. But the people don't know that. They had the feeling it's more and more a huge problem. This is crime reports in German news. You see here, this line is a number of crime. You see it's more or less reducing, and now it's more or less stable since 2011-12. And these are the news in the media. Yeah. And this is from United States. You see also this is violent crime. This dark number is violent crime. You see it reduces it. But the media, it depends on several cases. If we have a special case, then we have a new crime reporting. This is an interesting study. This is a comparison of the reporting in the media in comparison to crime statistics. This is sexual murder. Mostly men kill a woman on a sexual basis, on a sexual background. You see, we had in the police statistics in 2011, 11 cases all over the country. 11 cases of a person who raped a woman, for example, and killed her. Terrible case, no question. 11 cases, but in the media, it was the factor 6,450. The media reported this crime more or less all over time. There is a murder, a man killed a woman in Freiburg, for example. We had also such a murder case in Freiburg. And so people have the feeling this is a terrible thing. Germany, every case is a terrible case, no question. But the media inform the people not very valid. Germany has 83 million inhabitants, and we had 11 cases. Every case is one case too much, no question. But the media report especially about these cases. These are killings, other killings, and these are sexual, not so severe sexual offenses. So you see, the selection of the crime reporting is very, very strong. Yeah, there has nothing to do with reality. Yeah? What is written in the newspapers, or also especially in private channels, TV channels, is not the reality. It is a fictional reality or what else. Why do the journals or the media report that? Important is the success on the side of the public. If I would be the editor of this Bild-Zeitung, I'm interested to sell examples. Yeah? Bild-Zeitung is the biggest journal in Germany. Yeah? Most bought by people. And if I would be the boss of this Bild-Zeitung, I have to look that we sell the journals. So what helps to sell the journals? To bring these stories, obviously. Yeah? If you change that, you might have a problem insofar as you don't sell so many journals. And this is a problem. So let's continue this politics. because we are interested to sell journals and nothing else, and all what helps. It's around about 10 years ago, this journal, every day on the bottom of the first page, there was more or less a young, nice woman, more or less naked, something like this or something like that. Then we had, this was around about 10 years ago. You know, every day the Bild-Zeitung, the second part, on the front page, the lower part, there was a young lady, laughing, very nice, more or less naked. And then we had the beginning of the women movement, and they criticized it very strongly. And so they changed it on this pressure. The women movement said, don't buy this journal, this is terrible. And what they do now is, this lady is not on the first page, but inside. And the discussion was ended. So this is, and emotions are evoked. If you see these pictures, you see emotions are evoked. And the victim, meanwhile, is the most important person. Before, it was the offender. You see this survey in 86, most reports are about the offenders. These are the offenders. And then it changed. Meanwhile, the most reports about the victims. The victim is in the foreground now, and this is today, 1994. You see, we have more and more reports about victims, and not the offender is more in the background. You see more the victims, and the victims is emotionally. We have, this is a victim. Isn't it a nice girl? Very nice. It's a lovely girl. Every day, if I look in my internet, you see a news story. What happened? On February 18th, this young girl, 15 years old, disappeared on 18th February. She lived in Berlin. Her name is Rebecca. If you ask in Germany, do you know Rebecca? Oh yes, this is a girl in Berlin. She disappeared. And until today, nobody knows where she is. The police says she was killed, but they don't know it. It's like an idea. Every day you find this girl more or less in the TV news or on the internet. If I open my internet channel, I see news about Rebecca. This is a terrible case, but you should see the number of missed children 2017 is 11,000. Germany has 83 million people. And in the year 2017, 11,000 children disappeared. Most of them for 1 day or 2 days. They escaped at home, visited a friend, did come back in the evening, and the parents informed the police. The police is looking, okay, she is together with another family, no problem. Most of these cases are cleared in few days. And round about 300 to 400 need more time. And some of them are really killed. Nobody knows if this girl was killed. Maybe she is together with her friend in Portugal, not registered. Nobody knows it. Yeah? But it's nearly, meanwhile, 2 months, and I think the chance to find her alive reduces. Yeah? But this girl is reported in the media, not other ones. Why? She is the ideal victim. She is young, she is a female, and especially she looks very nice and very charming. So the media picked out this case and report every day about that. Other cases, also young girls missed. I saw a report in the German news, a very critical newspaper. There are more cases like this. Also young girls, but no reports about that, because Rebecca is more charming, is more nice. Yeah? So this is a selection of the the German anxiety, you know, very often people say the Germans are very anxious. We have a survey done every year, a very good survey, the RNV, and this is the anxiety rate. And what you can see is this is the anxiety rate of women. It's always higher than of men. This is an international result. Women are more fearful, or maybe they can express their fears better. And this one is from men. This one is from men, and this is all together. So, and what you can see is the fears the last years increase. Yeah, people are more fearful today. They express more fears, especially since 2014-15. That has also to do with the immigration rate. And if you ask people why you are fearful, the highest value has 69% more dangerous world politics by Trump. Okay, Trump is a very curious person. You never know what he is doing tomorrow. Yeah? The second one is overtaxation of officials by refugees. Germany has, let me say, a refugee problem. You know, Merkel said some years ago, we manage it. Okay, we really manage it, but a lot of people are saying, no, if you see a black person on the streets, I'm in Africa or in Germany. Tensions by immigration of foreigners, you see especially females. Overtaxation of politicians. Politicians cannot manage the problem. This is a very interesting, and has to do with politics. Terrorism, costs of EU financial. And at the end are anxieties to be a victim of crime. You see only 28% express anxieties to be a victim of crime. And on the bottom is collapse of partnership. So crime is increasing, and this has to do with, the immigration rate. We have a relatively high immigration rate and a broad discussion. We have also, meanwhile, since 3 years, a new political party, the AfD, the AfD Alternative for Germany. The AfD has only one real political topic, and this is close the border, bring back the refugees. This is a political program they have, yeah, more or less, nothing else. In some parts of Germany, they have, meanwhile 20% or something like that. Media reporting is insofar important because people are informed about the media, and they are informed very selective. And there is interesting, a lot of research in, this is a research from Japan. You know, Japan has a death penalty. She did her research in Freiburg at the Max Planck Institute. We have research from Canada and England, and also from United States. And what this research shows is an interesting topic is punitiveness. Punitiveness is the attitude to offenders. What should we do to reduce crime? And all over the world, if you ask Chinese or Australians or Portuguese or Germans, if you ask people what should be done to reduce crime, people will tell you on the street, punish them, punish the offender. Then crime will reduce. And if it does not help, more severe punishment. But this research shows the more information people have about the background of offenders, the more lenient they are. If I tell you there is a young man, he killed a child, you say, oh, terrible. Mm-hmm. The more information you have about the background, if you want to prevent crime, you should have information about the background of crime. Why did this person do this crime? This is the most interesting question. Yeah? The media don't regularly not report about this. The media report about the crime, about the offenders. They say this was a young man, 22 years old, not married. He was more or less a drug misuser, and he committed before other crimes. Now he killed his girlfriend. Yeah? But why did he do that? If you want to help him, I did for many years psychotherapy for imprisoned people. And until today, you know, we have in Germany a broad a practice of expert testimonies for the court. If there is, especially about imprisoned, if a person is imprisoned before he is or she is released, there will be an expert testimony to ask about the prognosis. Can we release him or is he dangerous? And these expert testimonies are done by psychiatrists and psychologists. And I do these expert testimonies. And then you go to the prison and speak with the prisoner and ask him and find to try to find out why did he do that? Yeah? Why did he commit this crime? This is an interesting question from the criminological point of view. You learn more about the background of crime, and you learn more why do people these terrible things. Then you can give some advice what should be done to reduce these problems. So the more, now let me give you some information about refugees. We have written a book about this, and I will bring out some examples from this. This is the papers you can see also today. They are moving to Germany. Maybe not, but in the newspaper there's written, they are coming to us. Is this my country? This is a very good journal, Der Spiegel. Is this my country? Yes? No, this is not my country. No more. By the way, here is another story. Donald Trump, does he risk a new world problem? This was a front page, or this one, German anxiety. If you look, we have, and the weekends very often protests. This is one of them. Refugees are welcome. You can read here, refugees are welcome. These are juveniles, young people, maybe students. Yeah? They say, come in. We have no problems with most refugees are not problematic. And this is the other side. Elderly people, they say, close the borders. I'm here, stop it. Yeah? No more refugees. So you see a very controversial discussion. And one of the most interesting discussions is, we have more refugees, do we have more crime? If you ask people, they will tell you, yes. Because we have so many refugees, we have more crime. We had 2015, 890,000 refugees. The interesting point is 73% of these refugees are under 30 years, and 67% are male. That is, the biggest part of refugees are young men. I tell you that because in all countries, young men are that group of the society who has the highest crime rate. Yes? We men, when we are young, yes, we have to be strong. And if you have a colleague, or if you are in a group, maybe you have no money. Okay. Very often, the most interesting factor to commit crime is young men in problematic groups. Yeah? One gives the first idea, the next one the second idea, and then maybe they commit a crime. And the biggest part of the refugees arriving in Germany are from this group. So if you compare the crime rate of the refugees with the crime rate of Germany, this is not correct. Because in the crime rate of Germany, you have also people like me. I'm an elderly person, and I'm not interested to commit crimes. Yeah, maybe not pay the tax or something like that, but not to steal something or to rob a person. So you should compare the group of these refugees with a comparable group of Germans, that is young German people. This is the crime, what I told you, this is the Germans. The crime rate is going down, and these are the refugees. So you see the crime rate of the refugees is increasing, but if you compare, this is, you see, the juveniles 14 to 18 years and below 14 years, that is children in drug crimes. You see this is increasing the last years, and people say the background of this is that the refugees deal with drugs. Maybe not. Yeah? The refugees, if you speak about refugees or immigrants, you have to make a difference between refugees who come to Germany because they are in danger in their home countries, for example, from Syria, and immigrants. We have a lot of immigrants from eastern part of Europe, yeah, from Poland or Czechoslovakia or what else. They are not coming because they are in danger or fear in their home countries. They are coming to Germany to have a better job, yeah, and to have more money. They are not really refugees, but very often it is not differentiated. Yeah? And so we compare people who are not comparable. 34% are economic crimes, theft, violent crime, and crime against personal freedom, also criminal behaviors, but nearly half of the crimes done by refugees, the victim is also a refugee. Yeah? They don't attack the Germans, but they attack other refugees. The background is, at the beginning, now it's better, but at the beginning, these refugees were very often brought to big halls. I visited one in Berlin, an old airport, no more in function, a huge hall, and in this hall, there were living more than 2,000 refugees, just one beside the other. No privacy, nothing else. And so I think if the Germans should live in this situation, there is also aggression. This is one point, and the other one is religion. Very often people are coming from special religious groups, and they are not accepting other religious, and so they have problems. These crimes against refugees camps, that is another topic. At the beginning, the Germans don't like the refugees, and they attacked sometimes the refugee camps, but you see now it's decreasing. Media have found out violence. This is also the media are reporting very selective. It begins at the end of 2015 in Cologne. At the end of the year in Cologne, Cologne has a big church, a cathedral, very nice, and before the cathedral is a big place. This is a meeting point. And at the end of the year, people are meeting there, drinking alcohol and dancing and what else. And at that time, 2015-16, there were also a lot of refugees on this place, yeah? And some of them attacked women, yeah? You should not forget that a lot of these refugees are coming from countries where the women have burqa, yeah? And if you go through Freiburg, then you see in the windows, shops. Some days ago, I walked with a colleague of mine to Freiburg, and he stopped me and said, "Look, this picture." I said, what is that? There was a young lady, it was a shop for underwear of women. And there was a very nice lady. She was totally naked without a small. This is what you could sell here. and she was just like, yeah. For a German, this is common, yeah, but okay. But if there is a person from, let me say, Syria, who never saw such a picture, the young man, only saw his mother with a scarf, and now he went through the city and sees a naked woman. What is the effect for him? Yeah? And maybe he has a feeling, oh, in Germany. This is should I stop? Okay. This is a problem. And another topic is, if we come back to the media, non-German victims are mostly not discussed in the media. The media are presenting results about offenders and not about victims. Yeah? The immigrants are very often also victims, especially the Bild-Zeitung, this tabloid paper they report not. The more sophisticated papers like Süddeutsche Zeitung, this is a high-level newspaper, or the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, they report more about victimization of immigrants. Yeah. This is from the book I showed you. You see, increase of criminality of refugees. Yes, I agree. We have more crime because we have more refugees. The problem of violence behavior of refugees, you see the left is, yes, it's okay. And you see people think we have a problem with violence. The presence of refugees and security problems, yes. The risk of infections, diseases, yeah. People have the feeling if they come from North Africa, maybe they bring some medical problems. Or media presentation of refugee situation is real. People think, don't agree. So people have the feeling what the media reports is not a reality, if you ask them. But nevertheless, there is an influence from this media reporting on the media influence on the creation of fear of refugees. Yes, you see, most people say yes. Great danger of women of become a victim of rape by refugees. Yes. This is non-German suspected violators. If a non-German is a violator, then the media report about the violator, about the offender. Yeah, there's a high reporting. But if the non-German is a victim, you see, no reporting, only a small one. The media report if the foreigner, especially the immigrant, is an offender, then you find a report. Again, a refugee committed a crime. If he is a victim, the reporting is much lower. Let me come to another small topic. We have a very critical discussion about refugees. But on the other side, this is the unemployment rate in Germany. It decreased. Germany is moving to a giant deficit of workers in industry. Yeah? We need these people. I live in a small village with 1,200 people. When I go to the shop, there is a German and a black one. I asked the owner, do you have a black one? Why don't you have a German? He said, I didn't find a German. I had to select, I had to accept the black one. The black one speaks perfect English, perfect German. Why not? It's a good idea. Yeah. The Germans are, we have a reducing birth rate. This is a study from the industry, and she comes to the end that in 2035, we need around about 260 persons from abroad. 40, 50 years ago, we had a similar problem. And then we invited people from Portugal, Spain, and all these people. In my house, I lived a Spanish, when I was a young man, and the Portuguese people working in Germany, the so-called guest workers. Yeah? The industry needed it. Today, we have no guest workers, or much less, and so we need the refugees on the other side. And politics, the politics, there is an influence from the media, not only on the people on the street, but also on the politicians. Yeah, crime politicians are the media. This is cybercrime. You know, we have a broad discussion the last years about cybercrime. This is more or less a problem not under control. A lot of loss of money, 2.2 million for more security, and you know, the government is hacked, the industry is hacked and all that, and also private person. If you ask people what should be done, I told you sharper punishment, and an analysis of the programs of the political parties before election of government. Every 4 years, you know, we have an election of governments. If you look back to the 70s and 80s, most political parties gave some information to the public before the election. We will do something to reduce crime by crime prevention and by dealing by psychotherapy for the offenders and what else. Today, most programs of the political parties, we analyze the political parties of the last years. These are the Social Democrats, for example. The Social Democrats in the 1990s, they said crime politics means to help victims and to help offenders to make rehabilitation of offenders. Today, there is nothing about rehabilitation. There is written about punishment. If you vote Social Democrats, we will increase the punishment. This is a message today, and no more about crime. Making crime pay. This is a very famous book from Catherine Becker, the American colleague, and crime is a business also. Crime is a business for the journals, I told you. The more information you give about crime, the journals sold best. And crime is also a topic for the politics. Yeah. Okay, let's come to the end. The politicians vote for crime because they know from the media and from surveys what want the people to be done. And I showed you before, one very important topic is you never have enough safety. It's always better. You never have enough safety. More safety is also a good topic. And to get more safety means to reduce crime. And to reduce crime means for the people on the street, punish. The more severe punish, bring it in the prison, then we are safe. And so this is a background and so the politicians follow this. They want to be elected. Yeah? If you are in the German parliament and you want to be elected, I never had the experience that the politicians had a main topic, crime. If yes, the topic was more sharper punishment. If you present what I'm doing now with you, if you invite people to do that, people say, forget it. Yeah? It's very simple. Just punish them, then they stop it. So politicians are influenced also by the crime. What people like, they will do what people like, more severe punishment, because they want to be elected. For the public, it might be also interesting to have an outlaw. It's an interesting topic. I very often go to the prison to do some expert testimonies. It's an interesting, I'm a psychologist. It's an interesting topic. When I come out of the prison, I have more or less, let me say, a good feeling. Because I say to me, okay, I have also problems, but this person inside the prison, I have a good luck that I have not more problems. It's a good feeling, yeah? And this is also maybe a psychological background of what can we do? There is some publication in Germany about a criminologist. Criminologists are informed about all these dynamics, and they should more inform people about what is going on. But if you ask a criminologist and say, oh, I'm more interested in publications in serious journals, and these journals are not read by the public. So it's criminologists maybe are not so interested to public. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Helmut Kury. Crime statistics underestimate the real numbers. Here in Portugal is the same. And people know about the crime by the media, not by the statistical, the official statistical. You speak in a great number of crimes, sexual crimes and others, that are fields where media have a great impact, influences people opinion. So what do you suggest about this power of the media that is very good, but on the other hand can be very dangerous by the way that influences people?
Yes. Yes, the information is not very valid. Media have special interests, and politicians have also special interests. And the first interest of media is not to report people, to be sold. They are interested that you buy the journal or that you look the channel. And politicians are interested that you vote for them and elect them. That's a background, and not...
Yes. It seems simple, but it's
not. Yes, you are right.